What's up, everyone? We are back with Real Talk. For the time being, it's going to be pre-recorded. I am in my last few semesters of school. I got this semester and next semester, and instead of locking myself down to a specific time slot, I figured the best way to go about it for the time being is just pre-recording and having conversations with friends and people in this space that I really care about and love to talk to. So I figured with that, why don't I start off with somebody who's become one of my best friends in this space. We talk like every day, whether it be about Schmodown or movies or just fucking with each other. And that is none other than Geoff Alterman, quiz show himself.
Thank you for saying that I'm one of your best friends in the space. One of these days, I hope that I can I can return the sentiment.
I knew that was coming. Now, how you doing, Geoff?
I'm good. I'm very upset. I just got I got delivery with like a cans of Mountain Dew because I was like, oh, I'm craving something really terrible right now, and so I got that, and it was room temperature, and I'm like, let me get this can to be cold. So I put it in the freezer for like the last 40 minutes because it was like warm. I wanted to be cooler, and now it's like a slushy in here, and it's not like pouring out, and I got to let it now melt and get that proper thing. And anyways, that's my life. It's just one of these days I'm gonna have the Goldilocks of Mountain Dew real soon. Not too warm, not too cold.
Just right.
Just right.
Nah, and
getting there.
We're all getting there, and yeah, Geoff, we're probably gonna talk about a few things, but I know last night you saw a movie you won't watch for another year.
Shut the fuck up, Scream. Matt. Yeah, I watched Scream.
Which Scream?
Yes.
Scream
22. The 22nd Scream.
Or the Scream 5 released in 2022. Which, by the way, I get, like, I want to say they missed a golden opportunity. I'm not one of the people who are about the five
Cream.
No, I'm Scream. They could have put two lines in the M and made the, because you know how that M that looks like a knife.
To make it like it's mocking the witch or something?
No, like make it a V. Just two lines and then...
No, I know. Also, technically, it could have been mocking the witch, like True. The movie also kind of did, at least in some dialogue. I mean, yeah, that could have been one. And then there's also, like, so much of that elevated horror. I love that the kind of things that they mock in that. Like, one of the things I love about the Scream series, because I've rewatched the whole series this past week,
as most of us did, I'm pretty sure.
But like I had seen the first one a handful of times. I saw the second one like once years ago, and I didn't remember anything about it, so it never really stayed with me. I watched the third one, like most of it. I think I saw all of it, and I completely forgot the finale of it, and like I forgot chunks of it. And then I saw the fourth one in theaters with Paulina. That was April 2011. And then, is that right? Is it April 2011?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and then I saw this one here, opening night. And it's just, like, the first one is, like, one of those perfect 90s horror movies.
Yes.
Like, just a 90s. It's one of the best movies of the 90s, I think. And just everything that it's trying to say and do, and where it's over the top and where it's not. Everything is so deliberate about it. Everything it's mocking, how smart it is, where it's dumb on purpose in a way to mock something that's dumb. It's peak horror, peak 90s horror, peak meta. It's just one of the best 90s movies, and therefore one of the best, it's one of the best horror movies in the 90s. It's one of the best movies of the 90s.
And I gotta say, before we continue on giving the originals praise, people need to give the second one a little bit more praise, considering it came out a year later.
Let's say, like
turnaround on that.
I like the second. Here's the thing, I like the second one. I did. Like, the first one to me is like 5 out of 5. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, no question. Second one though, it's like it is a step down to me. It's about a 3.5 out of 5 to me. It's still and that's still really solid, very enjoyable, a lot of fun, and I think that there's some fun kills. There's a lot of good humor. The sequel stuff is a lot of fun. Where it falters for me is a lot, like, more some of the supporting characters Like you don't know who they are. Like I never
Like
cared
Mickey.
enough about some of them. Mickey, like I thought Mickey stuff was fine. And it's so funny, Mickey, because like I'm in the middle of like a group chat and stuff. Like as of this recording, talking about Timothy Oliphant. Like we all need more Timothy Oliphant because
And it gets
Justified was just
Justified just got
announced, and I
revival.
love Justified. So I love Timothy Oliphant. So he's great, and like that stuff was fine. It's like I didn't realize until near the end of the movie that like Sydney's new, like I don't want to say best friend, but like new friend was named
Who?
Hallie.
Yep.
Like I didn't even realize that. Like that's how much some of them stuck with me. I'm pretty sure Jerry O'Connell was named Derek.
Yes.
And it was
See,
like some of the
Derek
stuff was more
sticks with me.
contrived.
Derek sticks with me.
Because it's and part of that is, and but the thing is though, part of the reason why Derek sticks with you is because Jerry O'Connell's kind of fun, an enjoyable actor, but also part of it is because like you have to pay attention to him because of the first Scream movie. They make a huge deal about that whole thing with the love interest and how like are we going to suspect that again because of what happened before with Billy Loomis? But I mean, I don't really remember many of the other people. Sarah Michelle Gellar was literally just there to die, which is fine. But
Yeah.
that was kind of like fun.
And that was right before her star blew up. Keep in mind.
Yeah, and then of course there's the biggest sin the movie has, of course, is like there's two sins. One of them, it's not its fault really, and one of those is it's not as good as the original. That's not something that you can really hold against it.
Correct.
But the other one that I think actually hinders it in the second half of the movie was, they knocked off Randy. And I get his legacy and things that were influenced by him down the line. But even with that, in the mode of like what happens because of that, like where he could have made things better, Jamie Kennedy is so fun on screen and so enjoyable, and like you care so much about him because of like the magnetism he brings with his dorky cinema club dude vibe.
Without a doubt.
That having him get sort of just like stabbed off screen a bunch and you just see a bloody body in a van.
And the blood dripping out of the van.
Yeah, like I don't know. It feels disappointing that he's gone. And then
which, by the way, the new movie makes up for that tenfold. Just want to say that right now.
Yes and no. I mean, it doesn't make up. I mean, if I get what you mean by that without any sort of spoilers, but at the same time, it doesn't make up specifically for the fact that Randy Meeks is dead. It does not make up for that. Okay, no, Randy is still dead.
Fair, but my point is they remedy it as best as possible.
Sure. While still unfortunately having Jamie Kennedy in universe dead. So, but it does lend itself to creating another issue. Like, here's the thing. I actually still enjoy Scream 3. There are more problems with it, for sure. It's more of a comedy than it is a horror movie this time around. But, like, the actual Randy Meeks of it all, like that I find to be like a big problem. They're like, how can we still have him in here? Oh, well, he's already predicting what'll happen next time as a result. So they have him record it. If anything, they should have had him
right when he was about to lose his virginity too. Keep in mind that
he could have died. He could have died in the third movie, and it would have, I think, worked better. Because I think that his death in the second one negatively affected the third one in a way that felt even more obvious because of how they inserted him via VHS.
Yeah.
Just to be like, hey, here are the rules of a trilogy. And then it would have made sense then for him to die there when he says, hey, main characters, nothing is off limits now. That would have made sense. It would have made more sense than to have him die there, only because, without spoilers, you can assume through so many of these stories here, main characters, they keep coming back in each of these, this core trio. So he could have lasted another one. It would have been better for the overall health of the franchise, which is funny to talk about it as a franchise as opposed to when they made it, what was in their minds. They weren't talking about 5 movies later or something when they were writing
And
the first
apparently
one.
already discussing a 6th.
Yeah, well, I'd be interested to see what they want to tackle with a 6th one, considering like the themes in this one. I'm like, what is there next to tackle?
Well,
What? Why don't we get through? Why don't we talk more?
Requel trilogies. That's what you can tackle. Requel trilogies.
Yeah, but
Because
the thing is that they actually tried to address requel trilogy stuff in this one. They made some very blatant references to like
Star
things
Wars.
like Last Jedi in it.
Yeah, I mean
That's why it was even Stab 8 they talked about.
Yeah,
as
directed
being
by Ryan Johnson.
Yeah, like bullshit. Like they weren't even trying they weren't even trying to hide what they were mocking in that there. But we'll get to that in a moment while trying our best to not spoil anything major. The third one, though, while it had less less like, good kills, it was like the Ghostface stuff of it and the big twist of it all was pretty fucking absurd, which they tried to lampshade it by saying it's absurd.
Yeah, which, by the way, there were originally 2 killers in that, right? And then they changed it last minute. The second killer, the second killer was the chick who was playing Sydney in the new Stab movie.
That would make sense, and then instead she just gets killed
after admitting she fucked the director.
Yeah, like this is another thing about Scream 3 is so it's no secret that the first 4 Scream movies were all done under the Dimension Films Weinstein banners.
Yes.
All right. And yet Scream 3 blatantly was just like viciously just eviscerating the Weinstein casting couch. Yeah. And I'm like, Jesus, like, is he that confident in himself that he just let that slide?
Like, I go back and think about it. I'm like either Weinstein didn't think Wes Craven, I almost said Anderson, Jesus Christ. Wes Craven,
very different filmmaker.
very, very different.
Very.
But either Weinstein didn't think that Craven was talking about him, or Weinstein just didn't give a fuck.
I don't think he gave a fuck. My lights went out there. But there's good stuff and there's bad stuff in there, but overall I still like it. It's not as good as the second one, which I don't think is as strong as the first one, which is fine. Then comes, over 10 years later, 2011, Scream 4.
My
new generation.
Second favorite in the franchise.
It was my second favorite of the franchise before. I'm not saying where my rankings are yet. I'm saying up until before I saw Scream, it was 1, 4, 2, 3. I thought 4 was a significant improvement over 3. I actually think it's a decent improvement over 2 as well.
I go back and forth between 4 and 2. I personally will say this. I'm not going to give my full ranking of all 5 because I need to see the 5th one a second time before I can completely feel settled.
I get that
ranking.
too. To me, I went over all the plot stuff in my head before we'll get to that afterwards. But with 4, I thought that just the general way it was directed, I thought was stronger than the last 2. I thought it was tighter. I thought it was tighter because it was an hour and 50 minutes maybe. And
5, I think it can pull it up.
Yeah, but it doesn't feel that way. Meanwhile, Scream 3 is 2 hours, and it feels like it's 2.5. And this whole thing about the pacing matters with these sort of movies. I think that the cast is mostly actually really enjoyable.
It's 151, by the way. 151.
151. Okay, so yeah. So and then you think about how many minutes there are in credits. It's about an hour 45.
Yeah.
So okay, cool. That's a pretty solid length. Maybe it could have been 5-10 minutes shorter, but that's it. The pacing is much stronger there, and then we have this new generation of younger people being killed, and they're enjoyable. They stand out. You got Rory Culkin and Hayden Panettiere, and I don't know the actors who play. I don't know the actor who plays the kid who's constantly vlogging, but this is 2011. when they had that
Yeah.
joke in there, because that's the kind of technology they had. But it's
that
like
joke has aged
that
very
is
well.
very well. Like that was ahead of its time, and you say ahead of its time, 2011. That wasn't that long ago, but at the same time, now it's 11 years ago.
Or
Yeah.
Knusden, it's Eric Knusden. That's Robbie.
Yeah, that kid, he was great. And when they established their rules, they were like, hey, in remakes and all this stuff, basically the only thing that can save you now is you basically have to be gay. And then when he's about to get killed, he's like, I'm gay. And the killer stops and he's like, if it helps.
Bam.
Like, they know what they're doing. And I get where some people have issues with how it ends, because there were rewrites, there were some reshoots, but I still actually like the way it does end.
Same.
I like the way that they are able to skewer celebrity culture, online culture, and stuff once again ahead of its time. But I mean, like, both, mocking stuff that definitely was already prevalent, especially when it comes to reality television
really
stuff up to that point.
But
also like YouTube celebrity stuff of people just being famous because they were at something when it happened once or something. So it's like, what, before anything else, like Kim Kardashian was famous because she was Paris Hilton's friend. Like that's
because she was Rob Kardashian. Or because she was.
Oh yeah, that shit too. Because people famous because you're related to someone famous.
Yeah.
And she was like, and had Emma Roberts like wanting to be famous because she was related. She saw someone else that was famous. Exactly. One of the other things though with that is that I know that I've heard a criticism was it wasn't as believable being Rory Culkin and Emma Roberts, because the ghost face figure is a little bigger, a little more imposing. And they didn't really do as well of a job with that, and so it's a little more distracting that way.
I mean, you can argue the same thing happened in this film. Just saying.
Yeah, but at the same time, maybe not. So I then again, like, I think that overall it's very strong. I think that it has some blunders, but at the same time, I think it's overall a very strong, funny, smart horror film. Then comes this new one, Scream 2022. It's fine. I actually was like, why are they calling it Scream? What is with this whole fucking trend of calling movies? And then the movie fucking is like, yeah, isn't that fucking dumb? Movies do this all the time with the new Halloween or all this other stuff.
And you're like, okay, I get it now.
And I'm like, okay, cool. I mean, like, on the one hand, when you're trying to categorize stuff for yourself in your mind, or like, alphabetize things and whatnot, like, in real life, it is annoying. But here's the thing. Titles only go so far. They're not the actual movie itself. Right. So why not have fun with it and have the title just be another piece of the thing you're mocking?
Yeah.
So sure, whatever, fine. It's a piece of the marketing. The title is not the movie.
Right.
So why not have the title be an extension of the joke itself? This new one, I really enjoyed the new kids again. Yes. I enjoyed a lot of them. What I liked about it also, and it's weird, is by this time now, they try to develop like human stories for some of them. But at the same time, when you watch the movie, these are not characters. These are not people that you're following. These are characters that are telling you they're in a Scream movie.
Yes.
The whole time.
I will say, as much as I love Melissa Barrera, because I love her from In the Heights as Vanessa, I felt like the first act, her acting was hollow at times, but then she kind of grew out of it. But I didn't know if that was on purpose.
I think I never had a problem with her in the beginning. I thought it was purposeful because of how closed off she was, because of where the character was. It made sense to me.
And see, that's
also,
why
I have to say, I liked her more here than I liked In the Heights for her, and mostly that's because I never liked Vanessa.
She had more to do in this, and this is someone who loves Vanessa.
As opposed to like, one day I'm gonna draw a dress in my apartment. That's what In the Heights is,
and it's even worse on the stage.
So
I remember you going like, she was so shallow. I'm like, Yeah, this is her adding more, and you're like, this was adding more.
Exactly. But I still liked her in the end. I liked her sister and that whole dynamic they
Jenna
had.
Ortega was fantastic.
She was great as Tara.
Yeah.
So good. And then there's like, all right, so there's no spoilers on who is a killer, who isn't a killer, who gets killed. We're just going to talk about who
it's going to be
people
Sunday.
are.
It's going to be Sunday when I release
I don't want to spoil it yet when this gets dropped.
Fair.
I want, because that's still, we don't know who's able to go there in the first couple days.
True. I can tell you, I know Taylor is not going, unfortunately, and he's sad about it. So yeah, you're right.
So I would not want to spoil, like, I believe that there should be a moratorium for like big things like that for like maybe at least a week, maybe even 2 weeks. There are people who were able to successfully avoid Spider-Man spoilers for like 2-3 weeks.
My buddy Ben is not in that list. I got a text New Year's Eve. He still hasn't seen the movie, by the way. He had avoided spoilers up until New Year's Eve, and a TikTok just spoiled off.
So I saw Spider-Man No Way Home opening night that Thursday night. Okay, then I went on January 7th to go see it with Paulina. Paulina hadn't seen any of the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies. The only Spider-Man with Tom Holland she'd seen were Avengers Infinity War and Endgame. So that last week, between the 3rd and the 7th, we watched Homecoming and we watched Far From Home. We didn't go to Civil War because I wasn't going to go through the whole Captain America stuff with that too. So we get through there, and she hadn't seen any spoilers. The only thing she knew was just that Doctor Strange does a spell that had that to make people forget, and everything goes funky, goes sideways. Yeah. The morning of the 6th, January 6th, I wake up to her holding her phone over me like, hey, is this a spoiler? And it's a photo. It's the photo right at the end, the final scene of Tom, Toby, and Andrew hugging. And and it's like an HD nice photo that was released. I'm like, God damn it. Yeah. I tried to avoid saying it. And
I remember you told me, you messaged us that morning, like, I acted like I was still asleep.
Mm-hmm. So I didn't have to like acknowledge that. Yeah, I didn't want to like that. But yeah, like the idea of spoilers, it could be annoying because on the one hand, you don't want to like. There are people that don't want to be spoiled. They want to go in and be surprised. There are other people that are like, tell me everything so I'm able to know what to expect. I actually don't care about spoilers. All right.
Same.
I got spoiled on the internet already about like a handful of things from Scream 5. Before I saw it, I had talked to you about that. How
you asked me like, is this true? Is this true? Is this true?
I don't. Here's the thing. I don't actually care nearly as much because to me, I'm gonna enjoy it regardless of because it's the same thing about seeing a movie in theaters or at home.
Yeah, it
can work great in theaters, but if it doesn't work at home, it doesn't work at all. So it's the same thing about like the Sixth Sense. Bruce Willis is dead at the end of Sixth Sense, right?
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
What is that?
23-year-old movie now?
Yeah.
Jesus. But at the same time, you have to watch the movie knowing he's dead, and if you know he's dead, the movie still has to work.
Yeah.
A movie can't work based solely on a twist. So I knew a handful of things going into this, and it still all worked for me. Yeah. Because you don't know the context of some of this stuff. You don't know what things are going to be said. And I think Scream 5 did this thing where the things it tackles the whole idea of legacy sequels, requels. It does this thing where it's mocking mercilessly toxic fandom throughout it. And it's just, I'm like watching it and I'm like, this isn't subtle at all. This is like blatant. This is Scream 3 mocking the casting couch level blatant parody, not even like satire. And you're
like, I'm here for it. I'm here for it
because at first, and I texted PJ about this too when he saw it, because I'm like, I needed to talk to him about this. And at first I'm like, is it too over the top? Is it actually written well? Is it over the top? And then I thought about it more and I'm like, hold on a moment. We think about the kind of people that are over the top and ridiculous now. and the things that they say, the bad faith arguments that are made, whether it's stuff about politics, if it's stuff about fandom and whatnot.
Hood.
These arguments that people make, these complaints, they sound like these over the top things. So what's terrible is that these things that are said that are addressed in the new Scream are true to fact. Like, these are things people literally say about other things, and it sounds over the top, and it sounds like so blunt and obvious that it's not smart. And it's like, no, this is literally it. This is what people say and do. It is exactly what reality is right now. And that's where we are. Is parody doesn't work as well on things when reality is more ridiculous than what a parody could be, which is why a show like Veep had to come to an end when it did. About the incompetence of the U.S. government, because it ended in 2017. Think about that. But this movie does it. It's so funny and it's so charming, but at the same time, it is fucking brutal. Yeah. It is the most bloody, brutal Scream movie. The kind of kills that happen here. There's a kill, and it's not spoiling who it is, because guess what? A lot of people get stabbed in all of these movies.
Yes.
There is a kill, and a lot of people have gotten killed where their throats have been slashed, or they've been stabbed in the head and in the throat. There's a kill. Someone got stabbed in the throat, and the camera just lingers.
I know exactly
and
what
I'm like, I don't have a word to describe it. It's just like that sort of like half sigh. You're talking about the
sci-fi one, right? Yeah.
Yes. It's just like I didn't know what to say. There is Radio Silence. I forget the exact names of the directors, but they go by
Gilpin and
it's Gillett something and something. I never remember them. Radio Silence is such a, because their producing partner is the third member of Radio Silence, so it's the three of them. Radio Silence makes it so much easier to say. These guys knew what they were doing.
Matt Bettinelli Olpen and Tyler Gillett.
Yeah, that's it. They knew exactly what they were doing when they came to play here. They first there was Ready or Not, and then Scream was Here I Come. And it was just this was a movie about loving Scream.
Yes.
And trying to wrestle with the idea of making a Scream movie now, both without Wes Craven and also with Wes Craven gone.
Yeah.
But both him not involved, but also with him completely gone.
Yeah.
It is making a Scream movie without Wes Craven in a world without Wes Craven. Does that world actually need a Scream movie? And here's a movie to tell you to wrestle with the idea, do we actually need this? And there are going to be people who will say, no, we never needed this. I've seen some people say they were lukewarm to it.
Our friend Paige for Betty, she is very lukewarm. So
she's lukewarm on it. She thought it was fine. She thought it was meh.
So you know, she asked me after my screening Monday. She's like, "What do you think?" I know Paige does not like The Last Jedi. I knew this coming out of the screening.
Yeah.
My exact words for her were, "I know you don't like The Last Jedi, so I don't think you're gonna like this."
That's funny. Vinny Mancuso.
Granted, a couple hours after this drops, I'm gonna have a Euphoria
thing. Yeah. I gotta say, Vinny Mancuso tweeted out a great observation about this movie, and I think he also put it in his review for it too. Where on Collider he gave it an A-, which is where I'd give it to.
Yeah.
On Letterboxd I give it 4.5 out of 5. Like I need to sit with it to see if it's actually a 4 or a 4.5 out of 5. Right now, my pure excitement over it, the amount that I enjoyed it, the communal experience and the theatrical experience of being with people in that theater, reacting to it in the way they did, might have bumped it up a little for me. So now it's at a 4.5 out of 5.
See, I was actually talking to Maxwell about this. But Maxwell, who by the way says to me, Don't tell me anything. Then we do the Scream double feature watch along.
He says, "Tell me everything."
No, proceeds to guess everything, and he's like, "Tell me if I'm right or wrong." I'm just like, bro, how did you... He's like, that's all I need to know. That's all. But Maxwell, it's just, you talk about the communal experience. I was telling him, I'm like, we were talking the other day. I said, the one thing I miss about these screenings is the communal experience, because pre-COVID, these screenings would normally have press in the same theater with the same audience, but we get a select few rows.
Mm-hmm.
In this COVID era, we get completely separate press screenings where it's literally 6 of us and 6 or 7 of us in an auditorium built for 300. And it's like, I was telling him, I'm like, I kind of missed that. Because I feel like it might have bumped me up to have that communal experience instead of being dead silent, and maybe I let out a chuckle here and there, and then I try to hum myself back.
I'm telling you, man, the theater got me with it, because like, here's the thing, I already, like I said, with the things that I had already been spoiled to, or I sought out because, like, you know, I'm bad that way. I still was like, all right, cool, whatever. Now I want to see the context of it, and the context worked for me. But Vinny Mancuso, what he said, and he tweeted out, and I think it was in his review, was this would make a great double feature with The Matrix Resurrections.
Yes.
And here's the thing, I love
The Matrix Resurrection.
So I'm like, this sounds exactly up my alley. And the people that don't like Matrix Resurrections I've seen didn't like this movie. So I'm like, perfect. There is a scene in this movie where I'm sitting there, and the scene keeps going. You're gonna realize it as I'm saying. The scene, it starts, and then it keeps going, and it keeps going, and it keeps going. And this guy 2 seats down from me whispers, like, says to his friend in like normal speaking voice, "Oh, they're just trolling us right now."
It's the same scene leading up to that one death you were just.
I wanted to try and not connect scenes together.
I know.
But yes, it was that there. And I'm like, that is, it's like, let's play with your expectations. And every time you're like, God damn it.
See, and then when you get to the moment, I didn't even think that character was going to die. I thought he was going to find a body.
I thought they were screwing with us the whole time, and then finally they didn't.
Yeah, I was just like, oh, he got off. I thought we were about to see like the body that was just off minutes ago there to just troll him.
Yes,
and it's fun. Yeah. And you think about that scene in context to what we got just minutes before it about the conversation of requels. They're like, oh no, you're fine. You're fine. No one cares.
Mm-hmm. They literally had it was as soon as they said that dialogue in that scene, I'm like, oh yeah, no, this person's gone at some point. Like everything that's said, no matter how ridiculous or overt, it all is there for a reason. It's one of those things where it's like it's Chekhov's dialogue. So we go through the cast there, and let me just pull this up real quick. I know we're spending a lot of time on Scream. We just watched it. Just watched it, so I don't know how long you want this.
Normally it goes anywhere between 45 minutes to an hour and a half, so I'm fine.
All right. Yeah. But we talked about Barrera and Ortega. And then we got the twins, Chad and Mindy, played by Mason Gooding and Jasmine Savoy Brown.
I love Mason Gooding. I've been a fan of his for years.
He was great. What's he in besides this?
He's in Love.
He's in Booksmart.
Love
Victor. That's the
the Hulu sequel series to Love, Simon.
Yeah, I liked her. I liked Jasmine Savoy Brown as Finn Mason / the Tinkerer in the Miles Morales game. But I also like that's the thing.
Oh, that's why she looked familiar. Holy hell!
To me, when I was playing Miles Morales, I'm like, why does she look familiar? And it's because I watched The Leftovers. You ever watch The Leftovers?
No, I have not.
So she plays a character who's like just in like the second season, the season premiere, season 3, and it's just like she's so fucked up in that show, and just these things that she goes through that throughout this entire movie, I'm watching it and I'm like, I just don't trust you, and it's because I watched The Leftovers and then played Miles Morales. I'm like, I don't trust you this whole time, and it's not a spoiler of the
No,
end or the beginning. It's
that's just
taking my
how
own, yeah.
exactly taking your experiences with them as an actor already. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
like, and see that's kind of I
That's the genius of
yeah,
putting Drew Barrymore in that opening scene of the first screen.
yes, because she was the biggest besides Courtney Cox. She was the biggest star. Courtney Cox was probably the biggest star overall in that cast at the time, but Drew Barrymore was the movie star.
Yeah, and it's funny because like you say like the biggest star at that time was Courtney Cox, but like she'd been on some TV shows. So, like she's only like a year or so into Friends when they started filming Scream.
Yeah,
So like that was before Friends like took off the way it did. So and then like let's see, David Arquette was like how old was David Arquette when or like what had he done up to that point? He did all sorts of shit, did he? I mean, not really actually. He only did a couple movies. He did a bunch of movies, but none that like, broke out in any way. He did some TV,
by
but
the
nothing that was
way,
huge.
did you spot the Easter egg that included the fate of a character from Scream 4? Because Maxwell, Jader, and I were so I was on my way home, and Maxwell.
Can you give it? Can you give oh, wait. The fate of a character or
Yes,
the character?
the fate of a character from Scream 4.
No,
The
not that I
one
can think
whose
of
fate,
offhand.
the one whose fate has been a mystery to fans ever since Scream 4 ended.
No, for whatever reason, I don't know what you're talking about.
Kirby.
Oh no, I didn't think there was any sort of
There's so
an Easter egg. I know she's dead.
no.
No, I thought they said in press Kirby's dead and she's not going to be in this.
So they there's an Easter egg, and you aren't going to be able to see it for a year. But when
We'll see. I might
when,
break that this year. It was something that I was doing to myself because of Letterboxd.
yeah, but when Richie's on YouTube and watching all the videos about Stab 8, when he's watching Dead Meat's channel and the recommended videos, there's a video that says interview with Survivor Kirby.
Was Survivor Kirby?
Yes. So Kirby is alive. My guess is they didn't they just said leading up to this she's dead because everyone knows Hayden Panettiere is taking a break from acting right now.
Oh, I didn't know that. I don't pay attention to that stuff.
Yeah.
So, oh yeah, hey, look at that, looking at all this stuff. I guess so.
Yeah. So
cool, good for her.
I'm hoping they can convince her to come back if they do 6.
She was one of the best. She was one of the best parts of Scream 4.
Agreed.
So, all right. So overall, I dug all of it. I love Jack Quaid.
Yes, Jack Quaid
I really love him in The Boys. I really like Plus One. The movie, I think it's on Hulu right now, that he made with oh man, what's her name? Was it Maya Erskine? Yeah, Maya Erskine.
Yeah, Maya Erskine.
I really like Plus One.
We needed a new home.
So what is that?
It's just because I was bringing up the Kirby story because I was about to send it to you, and you're like, "Oh, I found it." Never mind. Funny enough, I forgot Jack Quaid was in the Hunger Games. Catching Fire.
I watched. Oh, I guess so. Oh, he's also in the first one.
Yeah.
But I watched the Hunger Games like twice, and I never watched the sequels, and I own them now, so.
I'm excited to see him in Adventures with Superman as Clark Kent and Superman. Even though it's animated.
My Adventures. Oh. Yeah. Anyways, what else do you want to talk about here? I know that there was
Well,
like some things that we talked about, and then we just got really deep into Scream.
was,
Like,
hey,
could have just
it
talked. We
happens.
could have just waxed poetic. Like, when it comes to spoilers, I'm there for talking spoilers on the new Scream. All right, I loved it. I loved so much about it. I loved the finale. Some people thought that the finale fell a bit like short for them, but to me, it worked.
I loved the finale. I just want to say that because Jader, when he was messaging me, he's like, "Did you like the finale?" I'm like, "Yeah, I loved the fucking finale, dude." He's like, "Really?" I'm like, that twist works for me. The reasoning, considering where we're at in society, fucking works, and we've seen fans do crazy shit before.
So yeah, I think that it has a really incisive takedown of toxic fandom,
Yes,
and mocking the whole Legacy sequel thing and whatnot. Everything about the movie, like, we're not watching people anymore. We are watching characters in a Scream movie acknowledge they're in a Scream movie, and that everything going on to them, we're all there to experience a Scream movie, and they know it. Except for David Arquette, who did the best work that he has done of this entire franchise in this movie.
yes. Which, by the way, I love the line he has where he's like,
maybe some of the best work he's done his whole career.
You're not wrong. I just love the line he has where he's like, "I've been stabbed 9 times. You think I want to get stabbed more?" I was just like,
yep.
I'm like, you know what? Like, and you know what's funny?
Pretty logical, yeah.
You look at this movie though, it is very comparable to Star Wars: The Force Awakens. It is very, and I made sure to put in my review, and because I could already hear fans bitching, and this is because of the toxic fandom we live in nowadays. I said up front,
they don't like to be called out.
Well, not even that. I said up front, if you're expecting to see Gail and Sydney and Dewey just leading this thing, stay at home, or change your expectations, because I'm like, together combined, they're probably generously, I'll say, in about half of this movie, and that's being generous.
Like, this is not a spoiler. I mean, they're focusing on the new kids.
Yeah.
I'd say the first half of the movie, in terms of legacy,
it's just
legacy characters, is Dewey, and then the second half
being
of the movie
Han Solo. And
the second half of the movie is Gail, and like a third of the movie spread throughout the whole thing
is Sydney.
Is Sydney. Sydney's in one scene, and it's that phone call that you see in the trailer.
And then after that,
she's in one scene somewhere in the first third of the movie, and then she doesn't show up again.
The Easter egg in that, the Easter egg in that, Maxwell caught it, and another one Maxwell caught. She said she's married to a guy named Mark. Mark is the name of Patrick Dempsey's character in Scream 3.
I figured. Yeah. They were flirty, and he was hanging out there, but like there was no reference to anything going on with like her personal life in the fourth.
Besides, she has kids. That's it.
She mentioned that she had kids in the fourth one?
Oh, no. I'm just talking about in this. No, in the fourth one.
No, I meant the fourth one. The fourth one has no reference at all other than she's writing a book. But like, hey, maybe that's a reference and McDreamy can come back.
Yeah. But no,
the series is all about people coming back.
I love how you're like, let's quit waxing poetic. But let's wax poetic a little bit more.
Absolutely. I just can't. All I want to know for the next movie is what person is going to be related to what person in what way to be utilized for the main story next time, because it's always something.
Richie's sister. There we go.
Richie's sister. Yeah, Richie's sister. Not to say anything about Richie and what happens with him in the movie. If he's good, bad, lives, dies. Just a random character with an actor that we know and really like in the movie.
So here, I will say the one disappointment to me, because a lot of these new characters are related to the original cast.
Yes.
The guy who's related to Stu is such a disappointment. And I love the actor. He played Flash in Smallville. Well, he's become more well known over the past few years. And then I was like, wait, so the guy who's related to Stu is like a nobody? This is some bullshit. Matthew Lillard deserves better than this.
Why am I blanking out on which one was related to
the 25-year-old jerk-off?
Oh, yeah. I thought that's what you meant. It didn't click with me for whatever reason. So
Yeah,
Um,
that was disappointing, but it is what it is. That's like one of the few disappointments I have, but that's basically because Stu is still one of my favorite characters in this franchise. 5 movies later,
I would have loved for him to somehow show up, and he's just been away this whole
right?
time. But like, it's fine. You know what? You can't just have everyone that had died come back. Um, and,
But here's
and I mean,
here's the thing: out of everybody we've seen, every killer we've seen die in this franchise, he's the one who most realistically has a chance of coming back.
just very scarred, very fucked
Exactly,
up.
very scarred, very fucked up. But
And I gotta say, quality of acting, uh, two performances that Matthew Lillard gave in the last decade are great examples of how he has also grown as an actor outside of
yes,
the weird comedy. One of them being his supporting role in Alexander Payne's The Descendants.
yes, I
Um,
love The Descendants.
I loved him in The Descendants. I thought, and I love The Descendants too. The other one is he's only there in the first couple episodes of it though. Is Twin Peaks: The Return, where he shows
I've
up as
never
a
been a
murder
Twin Peaks guy,
suspect.
so
Yeah, it's right down my lane. So it's like you don't care if I spoil this though. He's there as like a murder suspect in the first couple episodes, and then through crazy random happenstance, there's because there's all this weird ethereal otherworldly stuff, and he's sitting in the back of a cop car, and then suddenly there's these sounds, and then his head just explodes. So, but he himself was really good. So like maybe not that maybe he won't come back if they do more stuff in this series. But at the same time, like hey, like let's just see him in another big thing somehow because I would love to see that happen.
yeah.
All right, what else do we have? We've spent 50 minutes talking about
Well,
Scream as a
45,
franchise.
45, because remember we have this going on.
Sure.
But let's talk about this the SAG Award, especially the leading actress nominations and best ensemble nominations, and
Yeah.
there's some questionable
Crazy stuff. Also, if you look at Matthew Lillard's filmography over the last 15 years, it's almost all Scooby-Doo stuff.
Yeah, it's Scooby-Doo.
Anyways, sorry.
Shaggy.
I just want to say, like, yeah, get that Warner Brothers money, dude. All right, sorry. Back to SAG.
You're cool. You're cool, dude. This is why I love talking to you about this stuff because we're very much of a similar mindset and wavelength. But no, like the SAG nominations came out, and you and I just messaged each other with a couple big old what the hells because
just like what in the fuck is happening? All right, first off, let's just call it what it is. What the fuck happened with Kristen Stewart?
I don't know.
Where did they go? Where did they put it? All right. Now I know that you're happy about Jennifer Hudson.
No, I'm not. I didn't say I'm not happy about it. I said it's a surprise.
I'm saying like you're happy as a surprise of like Jennifer Hudson because she's good in that movie, and then there's like and then like I don't understand. I don't understand what's going on with the industry and like all these different like things like listing her as like a front runner with all this shit. For anything
real quick. Let's go over the top
quick.
5. I know you are. It's just we got heated about it the other day. Let's go.
Bad movie.
The outstanding performance for a female actor in a leading role. Jessica Chastain. I don't agree with it. The movie was meh. To me, this is this year's Joker, to where it's a very meh movie carried by a very good performance. I don't know if I'd call it
I'd actually I think that it's funny you say this year's Joker. A lot of movies are that Andra Day being nominated for The People versus oh my god, Billie Holiday. I was about to say Billy Joel, and I'm like, that's wrong. The People versus Billie Holiday. Andra Day was great in her debut, but like she was good. The movie was just so mediocre that she stood out so much. The difference is Joker has more than just a performance. Everything except for the direction and the screenplay. It's so many. It's less than the sum of its parts.
It's beautiful cinematography, beautiful score, great.
Yeah, so much.
Those three things are what I believe lifts Joker up, but the rest.
Like I said, it's less than the sum of its parts. But Jessica Chastain, I think she's great.
Yes,
I think that she goes beyond caricature.
Yes.
in it. And I think that Andrew Garfield is good. He's nothing like outstanding in it, but he's
I
good.
thought he was so miscast in that.
I thought he was good, but I didn't think he was great. I
And
think
I
he
remember,
was like
I remember
serviceable, but I
people
liked him.
saying this was the one he could win his Oscar for, and I left them screening. I'm like,
No.
I don't know about it.
I never assumed that if I never thought that Michael Showalter, this was going to be the movie for him. Like, if any movie was ever going to hit, and maybe I could be wrong, maybe something will happen down the line. Showalter, if he ever was going to have a movie that was going to break through with the award stuff, it was going to be The Big Sick.
Yeah,
and it didn't, except for original screenplay. Thank God, Kumail Nanjiani, Emily V. Gordon are Oscar nominees now.
So next up, you can speak on this one more than I can.
Olivia
Colman for Lost Daughter.
Olivia Colman puts on an acting clinic. It makes perfect sense. She's nominated. If I personally, I think she's fucking incredible in the movie. With like she does so much with so little. Like a flutter of her eyes in this movie conveys so much emotion. It's really rather stunning. The movie itself can be a little cold, or it cannot maybe hit you the right way, but there's no denying that she is incredible in it.
Okay.
So, Lady Gaga.
It's in my stack. So yeah. Lady Gaga, this is a Joker performance for me, because this movie fucking sucked in my eyes.
Here's the deal. We're gonna get to the point in which we talk about a Joker performance for this movie, but I like House of Gucci. It is not incredible.
In House of
it
Gucci.
Is. I think it is fun. I think the first 2/3 are much stronger than the final third. And
I thought the first third was stronger.
I thought that the first 2/3, and then it kind of like gets really messy, and it loses a lot of the steam and tension.
Jeff, but here, you want to tell me my favorite part about this movie?
Boof.
The fact that my theater rep bought all of us drinks because it was our third screening of the day that day.
Nice. I like the movie, though. I like the movie. There were things I didn't like about it, of course. It happens. Like, not every movie has to be perfect. Yeah. But I thought she was personally great. And I went with Paulina, my wife, and her dad, who is a full-blooded Italian, who's heard of and knows all the Gucci story stuff. Like, he's from Italy. And as a man who, is 100% Italian and knows Italian stuff, he said she was really great. And I'm like, well,
I haven't watched Jen's dad yet, because Jen's dad is the same way. He's 100% Italian from Italy. Maybe I should watch it with him and get his.
However,
opinion.
We'll talk about the other person who he didn't say was as great in a little bit.
Yeah. Next up, Jennifer Hudson. Respect. I told you the performance was the reason to love this movie. Like I loved the movie because of her performance. There's not a lot of particularly strong movies this year, but there are two people.
What?
There's not.
Did you say there's not a lot of particularly strong movies of 2021?
For what's getting the acting nominations. There's a lot of great acting nominations.
There are some great movies, and somehow they're like, let's nominate Being the Ricardos. I get what you
mean. And here, Kristen Stewart, by far my favorite performance of 2021.
She should have been nominated.
My second favorite performance of 2021, the actress who won the National Board of Review in her first feature film, Rachel Zegler. Sorry, I thought it was Zegler.
Whatever. I could be wrong.
I'm
making it up.
As much as I love Jennifer Hudson and respect,
I'd replace Hudson and Kidman with those two.
Yeah, exactly. And I could go either way, because I don't, like I said, I'm not the biggest fan of Gucci. I could be like, screw it, take Gaga out and give Hudson her respect.
Yeah.
But I know I liked Being the Ricardos more than you.
Here's the thing. I didn't hate it when I watched it. I just dislike it more as I think about it.
See, it was one of those movies that I saw that was the same week I saw House of Gucci, and it was the day before. I
think it was the same it was the day before.
It was the day before.
You saw 8 movies in 3 days that were all screenings.
Yeah. But the next day I saw Licorice Pizza, House of Gucci, and so I saw it, and then I had a ton of other movies on my docket just in the days leading up. And
there is literally a scene in Being the Ricardos where they're like, "What's our Deus Ex Machina?" Well, let's have Herbert Hoover call us.
Yeah.
What? You know that never fucking happened. What? Dumb.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's talking about this is about just performances in SAG. And Nicole Kidman.
She's like, I get why you would consider her. I don't think this is the award you consider, the movie you consider her for an award. Like,
no, she's better in that AMC commercial than she is in Being the Ricardos. Dude,
the one thing that Being the Ricardos did was make me want to go back and watch that episode of I Love Lucy. I left my screening, immediately came home and watched that episode, and I said, okay.
So have you seen Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story?
Once or twice years ago.
So the movie begins in a way that, like, it's funny because like then the exact structure that it was parodying was used for Bohemian Rhapsody, where it starts off with him about to go live and they're like, what's he doing? And it's like, hold on, Dewey Cox needs to think about his entire life before he goes on stage.
Yeah.
And it's like, I saw someone characterize Being the Ricardos as, hold on, Lucille Ball needs to think about her entire life before she tells a joke or something like that. And then I watched the movie and I'm like, I couldn't get it out of my head. I'm like, this is exactly what they're trying to do. Like, what do you mean? They bring up the idea of a comedic scenario, and then it's her in her mind thinking about a scene
all these
that
other
might
things
play out
and might play out better.
Later. And I'm like, what is happening? Like, it doesn't work. And I get from the things that I've read about Lucille Ball that, like, off screen, she was like much more like ruthless and serious about it all. But I'm like, it doesn't work the way that it's portrayed here. She's not, I don't find her good. I find her, I don't know what it is about it. Like, she's not nearly as good as so many of these other people. And I don't feel like sitting here and just continuing to complain about Nicole Kidman.
But don't we move on? Let's talk about how amazing Kristen Stewart is, because she's
great. She's great. She should be nominated. She should be a write-in and win the whole thing. So let's go to male actors, because there's weird stuff in here too.
Realistically, I can only say one's weird, and that's Javier Bardem.
Yes. Now, you want to know what's weird? Everyone says Javier Bardem is miscast, and sure, I don't think he was incredible, but I liked him more than Nicole Kidman, and it's because I like Javier Bardem. And I think that he's very charismatic, and I haven't actually seen him be charismatic in the way that he, like, as charismatic in other stuff normally, because he's always so serious, or like weird. And here he's just supposed to be suave asshole. He kind of pulls it off, but he doesn't do great in the movie, and I think it's because the material is so bad. Having said that, he absolutely shouldn't have been in there. The more we think about it, it's really down to a couple people that all are pretty deserving.
It's pretty much. Some people want to say it's a 3-horse race, including Benedict Cumberbatch, but in reality, it's probably more realistically a 2-horse race of Andrew Garfield and Will Smith. And I've been saying this the past couple weeks, and I know some people don't like hearing it. I think Will Smith is going to get it, same as Leo did for The Revenant, where this is going to be
what it is.
It's going to be
his
lifetime achievement. Yeah, it's his lifetime achievement award, basically.
Yeah,
and granted,
this is the time award.
Is this probably one of his top 3 performances ever? Arguably, yes.
Actually, probably, yeah, because some of his other stuff is just
comedy,
blockbuster action and comedies.
Exactly.
So in terms of actual performance, and here's the thing, this is not to diminish
what he's done,
overt comedy or action roles, by the way. I mean, hell, Tommy Lee Jones won an Oscar for The Fugitive. Melissa McCarthy was nominated for Bridesmaids. Kevin Kline won for A Fish Called Wanda, where the whole time
he was nominated for In and Out, if I remember correctly.
I gotta look that up. What?
If I remember correctly, it was. I know that movie was nominated and won a couple Oscars.
I think it was nominated for Best Original Screenplay.
Hold on, I'm looking it up.
I'm pulling it up. I'm going to pull it up before you. I'm doing it.
No, it was nominated for 1 Oscar, and that was
supporting actress for Cusack. That's right.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, cool. Joan Cusack is great, so whatever.
Yeah.
Love her.
But like you look at Will Smith's filmography, like
I
it's
mean,
not
look,
like
Pursuit of Happiness.
Pursuit of
Uh
Happiness I put there. King Richard,
King Richard. Here's the thing. I
Ali.
like Ali. I
I was
like
gonna say,
Ali. I think the issue, and maybe it's because it's been exacerbated by Eli Gorey in One Night in Miami, but Ali is Will Smith doing an impression of Muhammad Ali, not playing Muhammad Ali.
fair point. I guess the only other serious role I could say I felt he was robbed that year and not nominated was Concussion. Concussion,
I
not
haven't
a
watched Concussion. I
not
know that
necessarily a
Concussion,
great
just
movie,
people
but
didn't care as much about Concussion,
yeah,
so I
they were
haven't
like,
paid attention.
he's fantastic in it. The movie's okay, I guess. That's all I heard about Concussion. And I watched Concussion, I'm like, they're right. I still have actually I no longer have a sweatshirt for Concussion because Jenny stole it. But
She's in
like,
the room there. I could see from the
yeah,
smile.
yeah, she looked at me like, motherfucker, what did you just say? And now she's messaging me on my phone.
It's all right. Paulina asked me, "Hey, send me the link," and I'm like, "No, this is pre-recorded." She's like, "Boo!" So I was complaining about my Mountain Dew being cold, and she's like, "What a first world problem you're bitching about."
What else? The Legend of Bagger Vance, possibly. Like,
no, that's like
that was a joke.
like oh yeah, I'm saying this here as someone of my background. It would be very weird for him to be nominated for maybe the ultimate magical black friend movie. Yeah, like
yeah.
like that in The Green Mile, which did get an Oscar nomination for Michael Clarke Duncan. I mean, he was great in the movie though.
Yeah, he was.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Anyways, it's gonna be his year just based off of. But like, here's the thing. I wouldn't mind if it wasn't because maybe that because of how good Garfield and Cumberbatch are.
See, I'd still right now. I'm so split on who I like more performance wise. It's because it is Will Smith and Garfield for me. I still have not been able to power through Power of the Dog, pun intended.
I think it's going to win Best Director though, Power of the Dog, but that's a whole separate.
Yeah, thing. that I think it will win. But
one thing though that is if the second most surprising thing, excuse me, at least to me, in a little bit, was Denzel for The Tragedy of Macbeth. I know that it has has a bunch of traction. It's gaining steam now that it just was released on Apple TV Plus for people to watch at home. Yeah. It's very slowly more people are able to experience it. It's very good. I watched it, and while I didn't love it, I like it. I think I'm realizing that just Macbeth itself, the story, doesn't gel as much with me because I watched other versions of it, in recent time because I'd never seen any, and it doesn't click with me as much as some other Shakespeare stuff. But can't deny how good the movie is in its construction, in its production design, its sound design, how good he is, and Frances McDormand as Lady Macbeth. There's just some great stuff in it. In fact, I think that someone who no one's talking about that's good in the movie is Corey Hawkins as Macduff.
Corey Hawkins, what a shock. If Warner Brothers maybe pushed In the Heights, he might be nominated for an Oscar in Best Supporting.
Oh man.
I'm sorry. That's still how they just buried that movie completely.
All right, let's talk about the three people that weren't nominated for Best Actor though, that are in the running as the dark horses that could swap out with Javier and maybe even Denzel. There is DiCaprio for Don't Look Up.
Yes.
There is Cage for Pig, which is the darkest of dark horses, I feel. Yeah. But the fact that people are noting him for it, I feel is great because it just keeps him in a conversation. And also, thing is about awards stuff is it's people in the industry filleting each other, just going down, just going to town, sucking the big old dick of the industry. It's just let's see who could do it to themselves better.
Because I think you and I were talking about this the other night. We went through the short lists of the of the possible acting nominations. We were on
Yeah, I
EW.
think we were done.
Yeah, we were on EW.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We were talking about that. Oh yeah, no, and their EW shit was like weird.
Yeah,
Their
we were
EW
like,
their EW like rankings was like ridiculous. But I just want to like finish this here. The third one, but in the end, I'm just so glad that this means more people keep mentioning Pig, so people can talk about Pig, because I adore. Maybe even more than 2019. There are so many movies that I just flat out love in 2021. That it's crazy how much I love so many movies from 2021. And I think it speaks to both how it hit me, how it stayed with me, that for the sake of how I feel it lingered with me, and so many other things. There are movies that might have had better construction, that might have excited me more, but for the sake of how it made me feel after, like in the months afterwards, I put Pig as my number one for the year. And I'm gonna be locking it in soon. It might move because stuff like West Side Story and other stuff I love so much.
Yes.
But it's my number one, and it'll probably stay there. So just
All
people
right.
talking about it is great.
And who's the third actor who you and I agreed on the other night?
Dinklage. Peter Dinklage for Cyrano.
Peter Dinklage and
He's
Cyrano.
so fucking good. Like he's great and does all the drama great, but I don't know if there's a better introduction to a character than what he did in the opening of Cyrano when he arrives in the theater.
Yes.
Just I'm like sitting there and I'm like I'm loving. And Joe Wright is very hit or miss. Yes. Like, I think that Darkest Hour is solid. It hasn't stuck with me. I thought that Gary Oldman was very good, but I haven't thought about him. The Soloist, which I saw years ago, was weird. I watched The Woman in the Window last year when it came out on Netflix, and that movie is just a fucking disaster. Hannah has a television series that people seem to like, those who watched it on Amazon, and I watched the actual movie, and I'm like, it's kind of, I don't know, it feels like it's like missing one or two or three or eight things or something. It doesn't fully come together to me. Cyrano is just fucking gorgeous. I think some of the songs, there's some stuff to be desired with some of the songs, and the choreography for some of the musical numbers is non-existent, not just lacking. But
Dinklage's performance, you and I were just
like is
messaging each other.
Maybe the best he's ever been. Yes. Because like here's the deal. Tyrion Lannister, it's just Dinklage being
himself,
reading the dialogue and being super witty.
Yep.
Think about that. He's very witty here, but like it's if Tyrion Lannister was a poet and also cried.
Yes. Perfect. That's like I remember I was like, you know, I'm feeling this movie. It's primarily because of him, but I'm feeling this movie. A movie like I wasn't sure how I'd feel it.
20 minutes in, because we muted ourselves, the camera and whatnot, and you just text me, you're like, wow, this movie is violent. Because there's just this, and it's funny because like the majority of the movie isn't violent anymore after that scene.
No, it's not.
But that opening, the first like 20 minutes, there's some crazy good like sword fighting in it too.
Yes.
And watching Dinklage of his size and like of his stature and the choreography that they were able to do for him, like he's so good, even in the sword fighting and stuff too. It's, you know, because he never was able to do any of that in Game of Thrones. The whole point was that he could never do that.
Right.
And here they're like, maybe he can. So that was all awesome. Dinklage, I would love Dinklage to come in and be an actual Oscar nominee. I would love to see that happen. In fact, I would prefer to see him get in over DiCaprio or Cage for Pig, and to take out Javier Bardem, because what the fuck is that?
All right. Well, let's go to the supporting, and then we'll go to the full-on ensembles, which I got some issues with.
Of course. Yeah.
So supporting role: Ben Affleck for Tender Bar. Okay. Bradley Cooper for. I haven't yet.
All right. Well, let's just go
I've had
access.
I've had access to it since early November. and I still haven't watched it.
All right, let's keep going.
Bradley Cooper for Licorice Pizza. This is the one you wanted to get. This was your Jennifer Hudson, because I remember you were like, "Man, I wish we got more of them." But even that little bit, I love it.
Yeah, he might be more threatening in there than he was in in Nightmare Alley. In Nightmare Alley, he's despicable.
Yep.
All right, Troy Kotsur. I
haven't watched.
So excited to see Troy Kotsur get a nomination. He's gonna be an Oscar nominee. I could feel it, and it's gonna be great to see that happen. Jared Leto.
Hold on. Before we start ripping apart Leto, Cody
Here's
Smith.
The thing. It's not going to be a we, and we'll get to that.
What?
We'll get to it. Okay, we'll get to it. I promise you. I have things to say about him. Okay.
Okay. Cody Smith McPhee.
He's probably the front runner.
Yeah, probably.
Based on everything going on, he's
a couple years ago. He was Nightcrawler.
Yeah, and before that, he was like the kid that was on The Road with Viggo Mortensen.
Yep.
So, anyways, let's go through from top to bottom.
If I'm having to pick one that I liked, granted, I've only seen 2.5 of these movies. I'd still go Bradley Cooper either way. So
I love Bradley Cooper. I just want to see him become an Oscar winner one day. He's been nominated so many times between acting and being a producer on a couple movies, and he works so hard, and he's such a good guy, and also he's from the Philly area, so like I want to see him get one. But I want to see Troy Kotsur like win. Yeah. I would love to see that happen. It's not going to, but like God, if you watch that movie, it is. And it's so funny because he's married to Marlene Matlin in the movie. I believe that's her name. Am I wrong? Is it Marlene Matlin? And she won an Oscar for Best Supporting Actress in the movie Children of a Lesser God with William Hurt. And Marlene Matlin is deaf. So it's funny to then see maybe, someone who is playing her spouse then go on to be an Oscar nominee and potential winner. I don't think he'll win, but I would love to see it happen. Yeah. He's so good in Coda. One of the most heartwarming scenes of the year because of him. He never says a word. Actually, no, he does say something at some point there, but as a deaf actor, it doesn't matter. He's just great either way. But let's go through. So Ben Affleck. He's the best part of the movie. He's the reason to watch the movie. But here's the thing. I watched that movie the day it came out. That movie came out a week ago. And in terms of like at home on Amazon Prime, came out a week ago. I forgot the movie as I was watching it. It is like so many George Clooney directed films, sort of just a weird nothing movie. It's very odd. He started out with such like daring, interesting stuff.
Yep.
Like Confessions of a Dangerous Mind and Good Night and Good Luck. Then he did Leatherheads, which is his version of like a sports movie and also a rom-com movie. Okay, cool. If you look at his directorial efforts, he's always trying different stuff.
Yes.
But
let's not talk about Suburbicon though. Let's set it up.
I haven't watched Suburbicon, so let's not. And let's not talk about Monuments Men because I haven't watched it. But The Midnight Sky looks
boring as shit.
Gorgeous, doesn't it? The production design,
yes,
gorgeous.
Boring as
shit. The movie itself, boring as shit. Exactly. Like that, not to be reductive about it, but like, yeah, it's just there's nothing to it of any interest. Other than like its production design, which is admittedly wonderful. Yes. He made the Ides of March, which I thought was really strong, but also that's because of like Beau Willimon co-writing it as well, and like the cast he always can get strong casts. Even like Ty Sheridan can be good depending on what the movie is, but like this is not that movie. Right. The thing, he's so nothing. The movie is about this guy J.R. Moringer, and it's supposed to tell the story of how he was brought up, and his mom was like trying to make him go to Yale so that he could become a lawyer or something. It's like all he ever wanted to do was be a writer, and it's like the movie is like setting up the story of like how he was inspired to be a writer, and like you think it's gonna build to like tell the story of like his life as a writer, but the movie, it's not even a spoiler. By the end of the movie, it's like, and that's when I knew I was gonna be a writer. I'm like, what? This whole movie meant literally fucking nothing.
uh, you, by the way, you want to watch a good Ty Sheridan performance this year? Card Counter. Go watch it.
He's good in Card Counter. I'm kind of cold on Card Counter, but like I liked it. I didn't love it. I thought it was fine.
That's right. I was. I gave it a 3.5. I think 3.
I gave it a 3 out of 5. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone in it is good. It's just like there's something about.
I think everyone but Haddish is good.
Haddish is weird in that movie. I don't hate her in it, but she also feels out of place with the thing that everyone else is doing.
But no, back to this. All right,
but
Leto. Let's talk about it.
Ben Affleck is great though. Ben Affleck is great in the movie, and it's like one of those like let's just focus on him. Let's do what we can. He might actually sneak in as a best supporting actor nominee with the way that they've been like building. And like cool, I'd love to see him be an Oscar nominee for that. And then for them to actually do a writing campaign and have him maybe actually win it for like The Last Duel instead.
Oh fuck, that'd be great.
He's so good at The Last Duel.
If you haven't watched The Last Duel, it's on HBO Max now. Right now.
Watch it.
Please be warned, though, it is a very triggering film. I love
it. It's a very triggering film.
It is hard to sit through.
It is hard for certain people to sit through, but it is so good. I believe by the time my rankings are all done, it's either going to be in my top 10 or just outside of it. I'm probably going to do like a top 30. It's fucking impossible because there's so many that I love. So anyways, Bradley Cooper, we talked about it. Love him. I'm just glad to see him there. Trey Kotzer, Cody Smith McPhee, he's awesome. He's probably going to win. I'd be fine.
Tell me why.
Let's talk about Jared Leto.
Tell me why you like Leto.
So, to me, House of Gucci is of two minds. All right. It is trying to tell the true story of, the whole Gucci scandal, murder, the life of them all, and the whole scandal and controversy and murders and blah, 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 blah. At the same time, it's trying to be a camped up version of all that stuff.
Is it really trying
to No, I'm saying that's what it's trying to do. I don't think that Ridley Scott is succeeding in that, though. I think he was trying to be entirely serious and it just came off campy. I don't think that's true because if you look at the scene where Gaga and Driver have sex, tell me. Yeah, that was. Tell me that they weren't trying. That is where I checked out. That was where I was like, nope. I thought was fucking hilarious. I was laughing. There are moments of camp zen in that movie, and that's one of them for me. But Leto is trying. Leto is like embodying the camp that the movie originally wanted to be that it never succeeded in. And the thing is, I watched that performance, and I'm like, this is bizarre. It is out of place. It doesn't make sense. I don't know what's happening right now, and I can't stop watching him. It is truly something otherworldly. It is. I mean, everyone's made the joke, so it's like it's hard to just like steal the joke, like to just make it sound original. He's Super Mario Gucci. Yep. He is on such another level in this movie from everyone else. Everyone is trying, like, this is a movie where you think everyone's like going at, like, he's camping it up so much where he's in a scene with Al Pacino nowadays. We think of Al Pacino and how crazy he is, and it's like, wow, he is chewing the scenery in front of Al Pacino right now. And it's like Al Pacino normally has swallowed the scenery before he came on set. So like, yeah, here's the thing. If you don't like Leto, I get it. It's not what you would call a good performance, but I could tell you right now, I was entertained as hell by it. And that is why I love watching his performance. Absolutely should not be nominated for any awards. I was rolling my eyes through a lot of it. I was fine with the performance, but it should not be nominated for anything. Saying that it's the best of anything other than best of what the fuck moments of 2021 or something. So all right, let's move on to best supporting actress and close out with Ensemble. Because we all know who's winning best supporting actress. This is a one woman race. It better feels like.
Kate Blanchett nominated. Kate Blanchett's phenomenal.
She's so
I
good.
didn't care for Nightmare Alley, but I loved her and Bradley.
And I
Cooper.
love Nightmare Alley, and it's actually lingered with me, and I might actually like it more now. But I don't know. We'll see. I might even like it more in the black and white version. I'll have to see that.
Ruth Negga for Passing. Love seeing Ruth Negga getting some awards consideration.
Ruth Negga was so good. And Tessa Thompson also.
Another movie.
Good.
Another movie that I'm not like, okay, I just have to add this to my stack. I know it's in the house.
It is cold. The movie's a little like, it feels a little like cold and like a little like I don't know what it is. It's a first time director type thing where it's like, let me make an intimate character drama thing. And it is about the performances. It looks gorgeous in its black and white stuff. Also, black and white cinematography really helps with the whole, like, with the contrast on the skin colors. It really helps with the whole idea that they are passing.
Yeah.
But Tessa Thompson is wonderful, and Ruth Negga is getting that Oscar nomination.
Yeah.
She's so good too.
Kirsten Dunst for Power of the Dog.
She's also fucking great.
Like I said, can't finish the movie. I've tried, but I enjoyed it.
If it's not for you, it's not for you. I can't fault you for it, but I think it's one of the best movies of the year. I know other people think it's also fucking incredible. She's great in it.
Okay.
Ariana, Catriona Balfe.
Yeah,
she's wonderful. She's very good in the movie.
I thought that's on my docket for tonight.
I thought Belfast was really solid. Like, I have it at a 4 out of 5. I might actually move it to like 3.5 now. The more I think about it, but I'm not sure.
I remember when people said this was a Best Picture favorite back in the beginning of November, and now
it
like
still
it still is. I wouldn't say it's the favorite.
It's in contention for the favorite.
It's in contention. I'm just saying
the SAG outstanding cast is a huge get for it. And it'll probably do very well with BAFTA stuff too. But I'm saying that it is still a big favorite because it is the one that's like a big feel good thing, blah blah blah. So she's been like a shoo-in for like a nomination probably throughout this, maybe not a win. Okay. But I mean, come on.
There's only one last option.
It's the most. It's the most, right? I mean,
Ariana DeBose. Like the fact that we're gonna have somebody else most likely win for playing Anita. All the 62 or 61 years after someone won for winning Anita, just
in the same movie with that actress. I gotta say,
you couldn't write it any better.
I saw someone suggest this, and I would love to see it happen. Obviously, you don't want to like end up like last year where you try to do stuff based off of like the.
But have Rita present.
Yeah, like or not just her present, but
come up on stage with Ariana.
No, where what they do is there was that year where when they introduced, like saying like, and the nominees are, or something, explaining who the nominees are.
Yeah.
And they had 5 people who had previously won in that category come out to explain how great each of the individual performances were. And they do that, and they would have Rita then come out to explain how wonderful Ariana was. Like that sort of thing.
That's actually, that'd be awesome.
Because like it's a way to like still do it without like, you know, Chadwicking it up.
Yeah.
I mean, look, Soderbergh was like, hey, we took a chance, didn't pay off.
But it was funny because last year it just like Anthony Hopkins, all right, good night.
And the funny thing was, like, Anthony Hopkins like recorded a video the next day. He was like, he was asleep. They told him he was told he wasn't allowed to like zoom in to accept.
Yeah,
he would have accepted over Zoom, but they said no. So he didn't know how to get in touch. No one knew. He couldn't. So disappointing.
But yeah, Ariana, like Ariana. This is about to tie into my complaining about the best performances by a cast. Okay, there are.
Are you kidding me?
There are 2
outstanding performance by a cast. You don't want, because look, every main member of a cast gets that nomination. Are you telling me you don't want SAG? You don't want Ansel Elgort to be a SAG nominee after this? You tell like because literally everyone else deserves.
Mike Faist deserves to be supporting actor.
Get the fuck out of here, Jared Leto. Put in Mike Faced. Let's go.
I know. Mike Face deserves to be a supporting actor. David Alvarez deserves to be a supporting actor.
Fuck it. You know what? Get out of here,
Ariana
Ben Affleck. Put in David Alvarez. Yeah.
Ariana DeBose got her supporting actress.
All right, you know what? Fuck
Rita Moreno.
Let's replace everyone here. Let's replace everyone in this entire nominee list with only members of the West Side Story cast. Literally every person, all the way down to anybody's, except for Ansel.
Deserves the nomination. But not only. But okay, here were the nominees for SAG Outstanding Performance by Cast. Belfast. I'm watching it tonight. I heard it's expected. Coda, heard it's expected.
Actually, it wasn't expected.
Really?
I thought that was a surprise, and it's a welcome surprise. I think it's wonderful. I would love to see this be a surprise Best Picture nominee or get in other places. I just think it's so warm and lovely to watch. It's such a. We'll get into it afterwards because I want to finish it because I know we're running a little long.
Don't Look Up. That's
expected.
Choice.
That it's a choice, but it's kind of expected based off of the sheer cast.
Yes, I know.
And the fact that the industry likes to suck itself off. This movie is all about sucking yourself off.
I feel like it literally just got nominated because of the cast list and not the performances in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then you have House of Gucci, which we've already discussed.
We've talked about it at length, but I do want to just point out I like Jack Houston in it.
Yes, Jack Houston was great.
Selma Hayek she was all part of the weird stuff I didn't like. She like the stuff I didn't like as much, which is why I thought that everything with her and Lady Gaga in the last third
didn't care for Jeremy Irons in it. Adam Driver was only okay for me. I thought
Adam Driver was good, not wonderful. I thought Jeremy Irons was really good in a very subdued performance. Very reserved.
I'm sorry, but when you're trying to have an Italian accent, you still sound like you're English. That's
no, I get that, but Al Pacino surprised me. I thought he was going to go big, and I thought Al Pacino, even more than Lady Gaga, who I really love Lady Gaga, I thought Al Pacino might have had the best performance in the whole movie.
That I agree with. And then let's move on though. Last but not least, King Richard, a welcome one because
weird. It's a. You go. Sorry.
John Bernthal was great. It was a different John Bernthal than we're used to seeing. There was talks that the young actress who plays Venus could possibly be up for a nomination. The mother, Ingenue, should probably be nominated. And then you have Will Smith.
Scene.
Yeah. And then you have Will Smith. Yeah. Then you have
Tony Goldwyn, because why the fuck not?
Well, yeah, that one was one I kind of expected. But there are two films, one which we just talked about in length of West Side Story, that should be nominated, and another film, a Netflix film that isn't Don't Look Up, that's been buried because it's got an all-black cast.
Well, there's actually a few. Let's go through a couple things real quick. One, King Richard, I'm actually I'm surprised that it was actually nominated here, and here's why. The movie is, as far as it's one of those things where when you talk about Lady Gaga, or not Lady Gaga, when you talk about La La Land, it was always a front runner with so many things, but it didn't get Best Outstanding Cast because it was basically a two-hander.
Yeah.
King Richard is, yes, John Bernthal is good. Ingenue Ellis is good because of her one scene, really. The kids are the kids, and they're pretty solid kid actors. But it's Will Smith. It's all about Will Smith. And they're really feeling it as the feel good movie type thing. So I was surprised on a movie that's really built around the hype of one performance, as much as you might say Ingenue Ellis or whatever, but it's really about the one performance, that the cast thing. And what this does is it speaks to the popularity of the movie amongst voters. King Richard is getting a Best Picture nomination. Yeah. I don't think it's one of the best movies of the year. I think it's a really good movie.
I think this goes into what you and I talked about earlier.
Yeah.
Where there is movies you don't vibe with that are not even that. Movies you don't necessarily vibe with as much that'll probably I think this is one of those movies where there's a lot that there's to like about the movie. Will Smith's performance being the main part about it, but overall probably deserves to be, if it gets nominated, on that lower tier for Best Picture.
So let's talk about a couple of the movies that didn't get it. We know about West Side Story. We don't actually need to talk about that. We fucking love West Side Story. Blah 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 blah. I just wish that we could have seen Ansel Elgort be a nominee for SAG after that. I can't even say it with a straight face. Power of the Dog was actually a big surprise.
Yes.
Because if you're going to talk about a movie that has
3 of the cast members nominated.
Yeah, like, you have those are the 3 front runners. Plus, there's also like Jesse Plemons, and then there's like 1 or 2 other Oscar like things. Like you talk about like really big popular performances, and yet King Richard somehow has less performances that are being touted for big awards than King Richard, and yet King Richard is the one that got in. When you as far as comparison goes,
yeah,
weird. Licorice Pizza has a great cast. Everyone in there is doing exactly what they need to do. Unfortunately, except for John Michael Higgins, who is a wonderful, very funny man, given
a horrible part.
Horrible. Like, I wish they figured out a way, like, if there was a reason for it there, but even then, like, didn't need to be there. Like, it just didn't need to be there. By the way, crazy that Alana Haim didn't get a nomination.
Yeah, that's another person who it's like,
but fucking Nicole Kidman did. God damn it!
We didn't talk about Licorice Pizza. I'm kind of disappointed in myself.
Just so annoyed about. But yes,
I would put her in over Chastain.
Let's call it what it is. Netflix doesn't give a shit about The Harder They Fall,
and they should. That is one of their best movies of the year.
I thought about it more and more, and right now it moved from a 4 to a 4.5.
Yeah.
Because I just was like, man, it's so fun and whatnot, and I think like, yeah, but that's it. And I'm like, no,
like it's exactly well thought. It's
so good.
Intelligent.
It's so
it is
fucking
fun.
Good. It is so good. Like, fuck, man. Put a surprise RJ Kyler nomination in there. I don't give a shit.
Right. I remember I told you when I'm like, dude, I want to see that in the theater. And I really liked it. And to me at first, I'm like, oh, it was just fun. And then like you, the more I thought about it and I watched it again, I'm like, this is really fucking intelligent.
That's what I liked about a lot of movies this year that like stuck with me. That, it's funny. In my top movies of the year, I do have 2 movies that were part of previous year's Oscar stuff, because they were 2021 movies. So I'm counting. Yeah, because Judas and then The Father are both on my list. Like Judas is a 4.5 out of 5 to me, and The Father is a 5 out of 5 to me. So it's just fucking. I'm so annoyed about things that don't get nominated, but then I always have to tell myself, you fucking moron, who gives a shit about awards
besides us?
And then, and here's the thing about awards, though. It's not just that. It's like, come on. The thing that awards ceremonies do is that they also boost the profile of things.
Yes.
Which is why I was so disappointed that Sing Street back from 2016 didn't get nominated for Best Original Song for Drive It Like You Stole It. Because they could have done that and had that played on stage at the Oscars, and people would have watched that and discovered Sing Street. I love that song. I love that movie. It's one of my favorite movies. It's intense. Yeah. And then I think to myself, then you have bullshit eligibility things that make it so Barb and Star go to Vista Del Mar, which is in my top 10 for the year. Okay, it is in my top 10 for the year. Okay, it is just a sublime piece of absurdist comedy, and there are 2 songs in it. One of them would never be, which is fine. It's just such a fun one. The Richard Cheese singing "I Love Boobies" is just so fun. But there's Jamie Dornan singing Edgar's Prayer on the beach. Have you watched Barb and Star go to Vista Del Mar?
No, Jeff, I haven't.
There's a song that Jamie Dornan sings in that movie that is possibly the single, to me at least, the single best piece of comedy to come out of 2021. And it is a song that should have been nominated for awards. and because of when it was put in, when it was completed.
Oh yeah, because it was eligible for last year's. Correct?
It was eligible for last year, and they didn't do anything about it, and then they missed out for this year and shit. Like, it's just nowhere, and then like the song's gone, and it's like it's so disappointing. So, and then I just have to remind myself, this movie, William Bibiani actually put it best when it came to like this, when it came to Malignant, which should have gotten a stunt ensemble performance. Like, are you fucking just for that police station scene alone? The advantage of some of these movies coming straight home to VOD right now is that sometimes a movie makes no money and then it goes in and out of theaters, and then people discover it over time. Wet Hot American Summer made no money, didn't get good reviews.
And it's one of the
now it's
classics of all time.
And it's incredible how like pretty much every single actor, they either weren't known at the time and are now absolute superstars, or they were good at the time and they're still big names.
There's a couple that just like,
well, no, some of them aren't as big, but they're still names. Like, okay, we don't go to the movies or watch TV shows because we see Janine Garofalo.
I wasn't referring to Janine Garofalo, actually. There's
but like as an example, like, there are some people.
There's one actress in particular I'm talking about, and that is the one who's most known for her role in the Mighty Ducks films.
Oh, yeah, Marguerite.
Yeah, Marguerite.
Something or other. Yeah, but you know what I mean. I said almost. I said like virtually all. But still, like, she still has stuff that she does. And so it takes time to build this cult following until it becomes a big thing. With VOD, everyone's able to discover it immediately. So you get to skip that whole period of time. You get to skip this period of time of discovering it at home and then over years trying to show it to friends when you see them, because now everything's streaming and everyone's online, so you can tell them all at the same time to go see that. Like, it's a really insightful piece of commentary that from Bibiani, and I think that happened there with Barbra Starr Go to Vista Del Mar, and I think that happens with some of these Netflix movies too. Like Tick Tick Boom did not have the huge hype behind it, and then people saw it and they discovered it, and everyone was at home, and it's been able to be discovered and loved and grow immediately because it's accessible immediately. All right. Pig, no one saw it in theaters really. It didn't really make a lot of money, and then everyone got to see it at home, and people are discovering it more now that it's actually streaming on Hulu. Thanks, Neon. You got Last Duel. Everyone's now getting to say, it's immediately now. Go watch it now. Please do it. They're able to share. Don't Look Up. It's immediately there, and everyone's like, God, I hate everyone talking about this movie. Stop it. But like, awards don't mean anything, but they get to boost the profile. And I wish that some things were nominated, but they weren't. And I'm happy that other things were. And hopefully the Oscars continue to be a place where people can like see good stuff be recognized, but that's not always the case. So yeah. Also, I wish they had a voice actor thing that SAG would recognize, so that way they could just fill it with voice actors from like Mitchell's vs. Machine or whatever. So Beck Bennett could be nominated for his role as a robot.
Fair enough.
There. I know. I talk a lot, dude.
But we both do, and I think that's why this is gone for an hour and 40 minutes.
That's why I bring multiple drinks with me, because I talk and my mouth gets dry, and then I'm like drinking because my mouth's getting dry. And I talk a lot about how I talk a lot.
Yeah. Well, if you couldn't figure it out, this episode was brought to you by Stay Puft.
Fuck, dude! Don't do that. Don't advertise. Don't. You're a liar. It's not advertised by anyone.
It's not advertised because Stay Puft isn't a real brand.
I know.
But yeah, Geoff, I want to thank you for coming on, because I love waxing poetic about film and just talking film with you. And today is no exception, because we are of very similar minds for the most part. There's still some stuff you rock with more than I do. Power of the Dog, for example.
Yeah, there's stuff you rock with more than I do.
Yeah,
like
Rise of Skywalker,
Space Jam.
Hey. LeBron James deserved a SAG nomination, my man. But no. It was nice to just kind of like talk and get some of this shit out, because we especially when you talk like we do through text like all the time about some of this dumb shit. It's fun to talk about it face to face in a sense, and just shoot the shit. So thank you for coming on, man. Go ahead and plug yourself real quick, Geoff. The floor is yours.
All right, so you can find me in Philadelphia, born and raised. On the playground is where I spend some of my days. Other days, you'll find me on the Schmo Me the Money channel. You can find our Twitter at Schmo Me Money, and then my actual personal Twitter at GEOFF1106. Tweet about movies and retweet other things about movies. There's not much to me. So I'm telling you now, if you watch this and you hear everything I say, you pretty much know everything about me already.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong.
If this is what interests you, awesome. If it's not, then I'm sorry, we can't be friends.
Real quick, because you had to bring up the Philly and start the Fresh Prince. Quick thoughts on the reboot trailer.
I don't know what the fuck that was. All right. I like, look, okay. All right. It's definitely different.
Okay.
I don't here's the I don't have
Are you gonna give it a chance is what I'm curious about.
I might check it out, but here's the thing, there's 800 shows I also tell myself I'm gonna check out. So I'll tell you now, I wasn't hooked on it.
Here's the thing. We both know you're not going to be watching the Super Bowl Sunday, so watch Fresh Prince. So watch Bel Air instead.
Look, man, I'm not hooked on it. I'm not hooked on Phonics. I'm not hooked on the trailer for Bel Air. So we'll see. Maybe I'll check it out one day, but at the same time,
Bel Air after
dude,
show, myself and Geoff Alterman.
Yeah, absolutely. I will be your resident expert on Bel Air. I watched like 4 episodes of The Fresh Prince at one point, so I know everything. The one thing I definitely know, dude who plays Carlton, I'm watching him and I'm like,
this is a smarmy motherfucker.
Like, I'm looking at him and I'm just like, it doesn't feel right. That's not what I'm used to seeing. And it's one of those things where it's like, I get what they're going for, but it almost feels like, how do I put it?
You don't know how to process it.
I don't know how to process it. Like I loved everything that they were doing with in the original series, where it's like, no, we're just gonna have, like, one of the things that Bel Air did was that they were able to have like an affluent black family that wasn't like as normal a thing with sitcoms on major broadcast television. They made great strides to do all this awesome stuff. And I'm watching this and I'm like, great. Now what if they made Black Riverdale?
No, I wouldn't go. I wouldn't.
No. That's how the trailer feels, and I know it's not going to be that way. But to me, I'm like, it feels that way from like how almost arch the trailer was to me. But at the same time, I watched the first season and a half of Riverdale, so who the fuck am I to say?
I sadly still watch Riverdale. Like, it's one of those things.
I don't watch Riverdale, but I watch Euphoria now. Apparently,
catch Geoff this Sunday on Euphoria After Dark with Paige and Matt. He's like, fuck that, I'm watching Righteous Gemstones right after.
Absolutely. Are you kidding me? Of course I'm watching Righteous Gemstones.
No, but yeah, guys. Geoff, thank you again for coming on.
You're welcome. Is this the longest Real Talk yet?
No, we've gone like 2-3 hours before.
Next time you bring me on, we're gonna do it with the intention of making it the longest one.
Oh no. But no. Thank you for anyone who tuned in. Like, subscribe, follow everything we're doing over here at Watt Real Entertainment.
I'm so sorry that you came on here to watch this bullshit.
And with that, signing off, I'm Matt. Be sure to check out my Scream review. And this was the first ever Real Talk back in the new year. So, peace.